go. So welcome everyone. Lots of people. I thought everyone would be outside playing in the snow, but actually I prefer to see snow from inside the warm and just to see it outside with my hot drink. So maybe you guys are the same. All right, my lovely ones. So what we'll do is we're going to start our practice laying down on the ground. So you might want to bring in your cushions if you want to bring a cushion under your head or under your knees, or you might want to wrap yourself in a blanket. So anything that helps you feel restful when you're laying on the ground, you can bring those in if you want them. You don't need them, but they're there if you want them. So you guys will lay on the ground. You can be soft in hips, soft in knees, or you can be flat on the ground. It'll depend what's most comfortable for you. So you guys will lay down on the ground. I'll just be seated for a little bit so I can let any latecomers in. So we're just going to take a little time. So maybe you close the eyes if that feels nice, or you can just let your gaze drift up towards the ceiling or out the window. And as we lay upon the earth, we're just taking a little time to get ready for our practice. So we always want to be journeying to this place of calm and restfulness during our yoga practice. So this little chance just to lay on the ground is just a chance to maybe notice the body as it starts to settle and relax into the earth. Maybe notice the breath. Is it nice and slow and unhurried? And when we think of the mind, if we think of our busy thoughts, maybe we think about just putting a few of those thoughts at the side of the room. So whether that's to-do lists of things you'll do for the rest of the day, whether it's an idea or a worry that's been floating around in your mind, we'll just pop them aside. Because for the next hour or so, we're just taking our time. There's nothing we have to do. There's no pressure to strike any kind of pose or reach a certain place within a pose. This is time for moving in a way that's restful and calm, but also in a way that's listening to your body. So you can adjust poses you need to, you can take your time to find your comfort in a pose. This idea of quietening all those noises of the world just helps us listen to ourselves a little more, to our body, to our breath, to what feels right for us. It's a bit like when there's snow outside, the world just feels a little quieter. Maybe as we settle, we feel just a little quieter, a little more peaceful. And as always, it's a journey, so it doesn't matter if you're not perfectly still right now. We're taking our own time, so nothing has to be perfect. And then from our restful place upon the earth, all we'll do to start is we're just going to bend the knees and pop the soles of the feet on the floor. Some of you might already be in this position, that's fine. We're just going to all meet up in this place. Soft hips, soft knees, arms just restful up on the earth. You might want them kind of wide upon the earth, a little bit like a T shape, or whatever way feels most comfortable for you. So this allows the spine to really settle into the earth. I'm just going to take a breath or two here. And then we're just going to start our little tick-tock movement with the knees. So like windscreen wipers, the knees are going to move side to side. And this movement can be anything you want it to be. So you can move slowly, or you can move a bit more dynamically if you like. But just like windscreen wipers, the knees sway side to side. So just the next time the knees fall over to the right, we're just going to let them fall to the earth. So the knees are going to fall over on our right hand side, just towards the ground. And then we're just going to let our gaze, our head to fall over to the left. So the gaze is going one way, the knees is going the other. And we're just going to breathe here. What we're doing is we're creating a little spiral twist through the spine. I'm just going to take a couple of easeful breaths. This is a passive pose. That means once we're in it, once we're comfortable with any support that we might want, we can just relax. In some yoga poses, we're holding them. In some, it's a balance. In some, it's just letting go. From here, we're just going to journey to the other side. So let's take the knees over to the left and the gaze to the right. Give yourself as long as you need to get comfortable. So if that's cushions underneath the knees, feel free just to bring that support in, especially if you have tenderness in the low back. You might find some cushions or a block under the knees, just helps soften that twist in the spine. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to draw the knees and the gaze back up to the sky. So we've got our hips and our shoulders settled in the air. What we're going to do is we're going to hug the right knee in towards our heart. So we're going to hug the right knee in towards us. And then if it's comfortable, we're going to extend the left leg along the ground. If that feels too much on your hips, you can always be soft in the knee. So that's an option as well. So we're just starting by just drawing the right knee and we're giving it a hug towards us. Lovely. And then what we're going to do from here, we're going to bring the hand around the back of the right thigh and we're going to think about floating the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. So we're extending through the right leg. And you can bring movement in here if you like. So if you feel like you want to wiggle the toes or circle the feet, feel free to bring in a little movement. You can leave the hands on the thigh, or if you want to send the hands further up towards the ankle or the toes, you're welcome to do that too. So a few different variations here depending on what feels most sensible for you to get that little stretch to the back of the leg. We'll just take a few breaths here. Maybe we listen to the body. Do we feel the stretch through the back of the thigh or the back of the calf? Do we feel a little too much and we want to soften, or do we feel that we can take it a little further and maybe slide the hands upwards? It's all part of listening to the body and just noticing what feels best. It feels like a place where we can just breathe for a moment. So from here, we're going to soften that right knee. What we're going to do is we're going to take hold of the right knee in just the left hand. So the right hand's just going to fall away and flop to the earth. From here, using the left hand, we're going to draw the right knee over the center line of the body. So your right hip is going to lift off the ground, but the shoulders will stay in the earth. Beautiful. So we're coming into this twist through the lower body. You might feel it a little bit in the hips. And take it just as far as is comfortable. So some of you might just be a little inch past the center line. Some of us might be all the way over on the earth on the other side. Most of us will be somewhere in between. So take your time. Find what feels comfortable. Take those easeful breaths. Perfect. Beautiful work. We'll take a few more breaths wherever we are. It looks like you've all got it. And when you're ready, we're just going to come out the way we came in. So we'll just come back to center and we'll just give that right knee just a final little hug towards the heart and squeeze. Lovely. So we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we'll extend right leg along the ground. We'll draw left knee in. We'll hug it inwards towards our heart. And then from here, it's the extension first. So we'll bring the hands around the back of the thigh. We'll extend through the leg. Option, if you want it, is to wiggle the toes or circle the feet if that feels nice. If it feels a bit strong, we can be soft in the knee. If we want to take it further, we can extend the hands up towards the ankle and the toes. So feel free to do what feels best. Give yourself a little time to find the version of the pose that works for you. And we'll take just a few breaths wherever we are, so we're just allowing ourselves to kind of settle into the pose for a moment. And then from here, we soften through the knee. We take hold of left knee with right hand this time, and we're crossing the left knee over the center line of the body. So the left hip lifts off the ground this time. The shoulders are still restful in the earth. Lovely. Once again, we'll take a little time just to breathe here. You can take your gaze over to the left if you like, if you want to kind of counter the twist of the leg with the twist of the gaze in the opposite direction. And then once again, we're just going to draw that knee back to the center line, and we'll just give it a final little hug. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to draw the right knee back into that hug. So we're going to come into a nice little tuck position, so we're holding on to knees or shins. Lovely. And we're just going to do some little circles with the knees here. So with one hand on each knee, just imagine that you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. And we'll just pick a direction, and we'll do some little circles. And then whichever way you're circling, we'll take it the other way now. If you're doing a bit of both, you can freestyle, so don't worry too much. We're just getting a little movement into the hips. Lovely. So we're just going to give the knees a final little hug to the heart. We'll squeeze inwards. Lovely. From here, let's release the soles of the feet to the earth. From here, we're just going to roll onto our comfortable sides. We're just coming into a little yogi recovery pose, just on whatever edge we want to come onto. Lovely. Very nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to rise up to an easy seat. So we're going to come to a cross-legged position. So you might want to sit on cushions or blankets if that's more comfortable for you, or you might be happy just to settle upon the earth. So sit bones are settled into the earth, so bum settled on the ground. And then from these kind of roots that go into the earth, we're thinking about rising up towards a nice little lift through our center. Beautiful, really nice. We'll just rest the hands on the knees if that's comfortable. And we're just going to take a few breaths here. So you might want to close the eyes, or you might just want to let the gaze be soft. This is Sukhasana. The word sukh also means sugar, so it's like sweet seat, comfortable seat. And before all the big elaborate balances and poses of yoga, it began here. The first ancient stone carvings on cave walls were just yogis in an easy seat. That was it. So when you feel ready to do so, what we'll do is we'll sweep the arms high to the sky, reaching up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. And then I'll mirror you here. We're going to drop the left hand to the earth, or whatever side you want to start with, and we'll just take a side stretch. Lovely. So the gaze can go wherever you like, so it feels nice to let the gaze go to the sky. That's lovely. If you'd rather it fall to the earth, that's lovely as well. Whatever feels most comfortable for your neck is always the best thing. And then from here, we're going to rise up towards more, reaching high, lovely. And then we're going to take it to the other side. And then from here, we're going to rise up towards more, so we're reaching high. And then keeping that lovely length through the body, we're going to hinge from our hips. We're going to bring the hands to the earth. We're going to let the head hang heavy. So we're folding over the crossed legs. You can let your head hang heavy if that's comfortable. If you find that this feels too uncomfortable on your ankles, you can either bring softness in, so you can bring a cushion to kind of come under the ankle joints, or extend the legs out in front of you and you can fold over straight legs. So you're not doing anything wrong. It's just if there's a bit of a solid floor, sometimes that little ankle bone can feel the pressure. So just take your time to get comfortable in whatever version of this feels sensible for you. And again, we'll just take that time to breathe. Settling into the pose in our own way. So it might be that you're consciously letting go of the muscles of the neck. Maybe it's the little muscles of the jaw and the face. And then when you're ready, we're going to rise up through head and heart. So we're going to come back to upright. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to rock over our knees. We're going to come to a tabletop position. I'm going to come this way. So just the shoulders above the wrists, hips above knees. So we've got this nice stacked joints of the tabletop position. And we're just going to start with some cat-cow movements. So on our inhale, we're going to flex the spine in towards the earth, tailbone and crown shine to the sky. On the exhale, we flex the spine out, tailbone and crown shine to the earth. So we inhale, we flex the spine inwards. And then on the out breath, we flex the spine outwards towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to roll through this with our own breath. So however slow and peaceful your breath is, you can move in that same slow and peaceful way. So we're finding this little rhythm, this idea of moving just at the pace of our own breath. And then keeping hold of this idea with this flexion of the spine in time with the breath, what we're going to do on the next exhale is just drop the bum back onto the heels into child's pose. But then as we inhale, we're going to open the hips and the heart. We're going to roll forward into a cobra, a little softness in the elbows if you can. So it's exhale to the child's pose and inhale to the cobra. If this feels too much, then feel free to stay with the cat and the cow, especially if you've got issues with low back or shoulders. So you can stay with the cat-cow, or we can do the child's pose to cobra. And again, we're moving with the breath. So there's no rush, there's no hurry. You can simply move at your own gentle pace. Beautiful, really nice. A little bit like a wave lapping up on a shore. Lovely. We're just going to roll through a few more, but you can always rest if you want to. Lovely. So just the next time you find yourself in child's pose, we're going to stay there. So we're just going to settle the bum back onto the heels when we're ready. And we're going to stay here for a little while, so you can come into your favourite child's pose. So for some that might be that you want to take the knees wide, or you might want to bring a cushion underneath your head or heart. So we just take a little moment or a breath just to kind of settle in. We'll rest the forehead on the earth. And we'll breathe. That's lovely. We'll just take a few more breaths here in the lovely child's pose, just a nice place to settle to the earth. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the hands under the shoulders. We're going to return to the tabletop position. So we're just going to come back to that all fours position. Lovely. So from our all fours, we're going to move into our pigeon pose. As always, we'll take our time with this one and we can bring support in if we want to. So with pigeon pose, what we do is we're going to slide our right knee up towards our right wrist, still up on the earth. And then the ankle is coming over towards the left wrist, so we're crossing the lower leg over the center line of the mat. From here, keeping the hips square, we're going to slide the back knee away, so we're really opening our hips towards the earth. And then from here, you can stay on hands, you can come onto forearms, you can bring cushions in if you want to come onto cushions, or you can melt all the way down to the earth. If you feel that that right hip is kind of floating in space a little bit, you can bring cushions underneath to support the hip. If this all feels just too much for the hips today, and that's no problem, this is quite a strong pose. If it all feels too much, come into the puppy dog instead. So that's hips above knees, sliding hands forward, heart and head towards the ground. So puppy dog is your alternative. Otherwise, we'll settle into pigeon pose. Allow ourselves a few lovely breaths here. So from lovely pigeon pose, let's gently bring the hands under the shoulders. We'll gently lift up through head and heart. We'll just soften through the knees so we can kind of slide the knees and hips back to all fours. And we'll just take a little moment to take a wiggle. So you might want to wiggle the hips side to side. You might want to wiggle the feet or the ankles. So this is just kind of a little unravel after the pigeon. And then when you feel ready to do so, we'll take it over to the other side. So this time it's the left knee sliding up to left wrist. And then the ankle's coming over towards the right wrist. It doesn't have to be right at the right wrist, but it's just kind of this direction. And then once again, we're kind of opening the hips towards the earth, hips square. And you can stay on hands. You can come into forearms. You can come all the way down to the ground. The further towards the earth you come, the more pressure you're putting on the hips. So while it can be nice to kind of relax to the ground, it is stronger on the hips. So if it all feels too strong, you can always bring your elbows onto cushions or blocks just to kind of lift you up a little bit. So lots of options, and as always, there's time to find what ones work best. Taking our time just to breathe. Remember that idea of just letting the neck go, letting the head go, letting a little tension in the muscles fall away to the best of our ability. So once again, let's just gently bring the hands under the shoulders. So we're gently lifting through the head and the heart. But this time what we're going to do is we're just going to very gently flump to our sides, and we're going to sweep our legs around. So we're going to bring ourselves back to seated. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and as close to the hips as we can. So we might take hold of ankles or feet as we draw those heels towards our hips. We call this the butterfly or the cobbler's pose. So we're thinking again about rooting the sit bones into the earth, but also drawing the knees down towards the earth. It's really open through those hips. And then from here, if you want to, we can hinge from the hips and draw the heart down towards the toes and let the head hang. Lovely. If that feels too much or it feels like it's squashing your belly or your ribs, feel free to stay upright. This will be up to you, whatever feels most comfortable. If you've ever done ballet practice, you might recognize this one. We do something similar in ballet sometimes, although it's been a very long time since I ever did that. Beautiful. So from our forward fold, let's gently rise up through head and heart. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the reclining version of this pose. So we're going to leave the soles of the feet together, but I want you to just check you've got enough space behind you. What we'll do from here is we're going to lay down upon the earth, and if it's comfortable, we're going to mirror the shape of the legs with the arms. So we're going to take the hands overhead and let the elbows fall out either side. So we're creating a diamond shape with the legs and a diamond shape with the hands. If it doesn't feel comfortable to have the hands overhead, you can always have them wide, or you can even rest the hands upon your belly if that feels more cozy. Lovely. We're just going to breathe here. So again, we are in a passive pose. So once we've settled, once we're comfortable in this pose, we can just breathe. Lovely. The reclining butterfly pose, Supta Baddha Komasana. So just like a butterfly resting upon a little snowy flower, we're just relaxing. Lovely. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to extend out through the body. So we're just going to send the legs along the ground and the arms along overhead. So we're just creating this lovely stretch, a little reach, as if you're trying to reach both sides of the room at the same time. If you want to wiggle or flex hands and feet, you're welcome to take a wiggle or a flex. And then with hips and shoulders still restful in the air, we're going to come into our little crescent moon shape. So we're just going to slide our hands to the top right corner of the mat, and we're going to slide our feet to the bottom right corner. So from above you look like a little crescent moon. Lovely. Doesn't have to be a big movement, can be just a little gentle stretch. And then we're just going to take it over to the other side. So we're just going to slide hands and feet over to the left side, or whatever's the opposite side for you, as we create that crescent moon shape once more. And then from here, we're just going to come back to center. And then we're just going to have a final stretch out in any way we like. So you might want to be a long line, you might want to spread out like a starfish, you can have a little wiggle, a little wobble, anything that feels nice, just to have a lovely extension through the body for a moment. Just imagine you're just trying to take up as much space as you possibly can. Wonderful, some very lovely starfishes I can see. And then from here, just in your own time, we're going to bring our arms alongside the body. We'll bring the legs back together if we're doing the starfish. And we're just going to take a moment here to get ready for our Shavasana, so our relaxation and meditation time. So you might want to put on jumpers or woolly socks. You might want to gather blankets. You might want to find your favorite place to lie down, or even if you want to be seated, you're welcome to find a seat in your favorite chair if you like. So take your time, there is no rush. I'm going to put my woolly socks on and put my Robert Burns scarf back on. It's my tartan. There we go. Beautiful, no rush, no hurry. We're going to be here in our meditation for about 10 minutes, so just bear that in mind. If you think you might get chilly or that you need some extra support, feel free to gather those things and kind of find a cushion to sit on. Beautiful. So once again, you guys are lying down, I'll just be seated so I can talk to you a little easier. But if you prefer to meditate seated, of course you can do that too. Lovely. So as we find our settled place, whether that's on the earth, on blankets or cushions, we'll find our little spot upon the earth, and we might close the eyes perhaps. And again, this idea of listening to the body, letting it settle and relax. If you've got any little elements of tension, maybe within the hips or the belly or the shoulders, maybe we consciously see if we can relax them a little, let them settle. You might listen to the breath, that rise and fall. Just unhurried. And maybe if we're aware of the comings and goings of thoughts in our mind, or sounds from the outside world, we'll just let them gently fall into soft focus or gently drift from the mind. Just taking our time to settle in whatever way feels best for us. And again, this process doesn't have to be perfect. For some, this meditation time is a time to really clear the mind. Sometimes it's an opportunity to practice our meditation. Or sometimes it's just a few quiet minutes where we get a little rest upon the earth. Sometimes it's all those things. And as we relax and settle, it can just help us, perhaps, to create a little image in the mind's eye. And so today we might imagine ourselves resting upon soft snow. But this is very special snow. It's warm, so it's like we're resting upon a cloud. This soft, supportive white is all around us, and we are supported as if we're resting on clouds or marshmallows. From our lovely snowy bed, maybe we see the sky above us. And within that sky we might see swaying branches of trees dusted in snow or frost. We might see birds whirling in the sky above us. From our little snowy place, white clouds begin to gift little snowflakes that dance down through the air. And perhaps the first little snowflake makes its way to you and just gently rests upon your forehead. And just like the snow beneath you, this little snowflake is warm, so it's like a little tiny kiss of warmth upon your face. And it's as though that little snowflake is just a little tiny wish, a little tiny spark of peace and calm. And then the next little gentle snowflake may fall upon you. And you might feel within it a little spark of peace and calm, or anything else you'd like to draw in your meditation practice. So it might be restfulness. It might be forgiveness. It might be a little self-love. It might be a little gratitude for this lovely Sunday that lays before us. So as those snowflakes begin to fall from those white fluffy clouds, as they begin to fall upon us, each one is a little wish, a little kiss for something beautiful that we can draw in for our practice. Until each lovely little snowflake creates a little blanket around us, white and soft and quiet. As the peacefulness and calm of the snow descends around us, we are sheltered, we are warm, we are safe. White noise. In all the world, there's nothing like the sound of falling snow. The only noise I've ever known that makes the clocks move slow. the only sound that sweeps away the din of city streets and wraps around in soft embrace everyone it meets. A sound that's not a sound at all, but a quiet, soft and dear, that comforts all the sleepy souls who sit and watch and hear. So my beautiful yogis and peaceful souls, perhaps the next inhale is a little longer, a little deeper than the last. Maybe you wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe you take any luxurious twist or stretch or wiggle that feels nice for you as we begin to bring our awareness back to the room, back to the day. And then with eyes still closed, if you can, let's gently bend the knees and pop the soles of the feet on the floor. We'll roll to our comfortable side in that little yogi recovery pose. We'll take a breath or two. And then just whenever you feel ready, we can rise to an easy seat. We'll keep the eyes closed for a moment more if you can, or if you want to. And we're just going to sit in meditation for a final minute or so, just sitting with that sense of peace and calm that we've cultivated in our practice today. As much calm as we can manage with little souls and little pups around. So we're holding that sense of calm and peace, maybe within heart, maybe within mind, maybe within body. And this is also just a lovely time to send out a little love and gratitude. And it might start with your body, your breath, your heart and mind. It might then expand out to your loved ones and family around you, the beautiful warm things, the walls, the ceiling, the carpet, the cushions, the blankets, the cups of tea. And any other gratitude or joy that you want to bring into your heart and mind right now, feel free just to let it float in, sparkle in, whether you're looking forward to a walk later or a nice Sunday lunch or new adventures in the week ahead. And then just to finish our practice today, we're going to take a nice deep inhale. We're going to sweep the arms all the way up to the sky, reaching tall, beautiful. And then we're going to bring the palms together. We're going to exhale the hands to heart center in prayer. Beautiful. If the eyes were closed, we can gently open them here. And to ourselves and each other, we say namaste. Namaste. The light in me honors the light in you.